Hi, everybody. Before you listen or watch another great interview, please do us a favor, especially on our YouTube channel, MeisterCom Pod. Please go and like and subscribe. It would really help us out. I hope you enjoy this interview.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated, where today I'm so happy to be talking with actor JT Neal. So welcome, JT.
Thank you so much for having me. This is already a blast.
So before we came on camera, we were discussing, how brave we would be in the face of ghosts, and it dawned on me, maybe I should hit record.
Yeah, right. Because the answer is 0% brave.
Oh yeah, 0%. Yeah. I'd be done. I'd be done. And the worst would be if it was a nice looking ghost, because know that's going to turn out terribly. Like I would rather they just come at me looking your worst right at the beginning.
Just be scary. Give me a good story. Give me some justification for the girly scream that I'm about to admit, and then we can move on.
Then we can move
out
on.
Of your way. Yeah.
I don't want somebody tricking me, making me think that it's just a nice ghost, and then it turns into something that just scares me 10 times worse.
Yeah, I listen to these podcasts about like haunted places and stuff like that because it's fascinating to me. I could never do it, but and they're always like, oh yeah, there are reports of somebody hanging out behind the bar, and I'm like, I don't want it to just look like a regular person. I need the full Scrooge experience.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I rattle some chains and moan or do something.
I don't think that's asking too much.
I don't think so. You're a ghost. Come on, you got one job.
I have a good friend that a group of us, as often is the case, grew up together. His family owned this house that was like built in the 1840s. So we spent all our time in that house. And it was supposed to be haunted. It was not, but it was supposed to be.
What?
So then I know. And we had this other buddy that worked for the West Virginia Film Office. Okay. So, here comes this like ghost hunter type of show. They come into West Virginia. He's like, I got just a place for you.
Right.
So they come to my buddy's house to film. But in order to make it real, they had to have a non-family member verify that the place is haunted. And I'm like, I'm your guy. Yeah. I'm your guy. So I got on there and I told all the stories, all the rumors, all the stories. And they're like, is this true? And I was like, oh, it's true. It's true. And I'm like, it is not. It is not true. It was all a lie. But so they aired the episode. And then for years after that episode came out, people were calling and showing up, looking for this house, wanting to go, it became this big headache for him. And they're like, we saw your buddy was on there. He's saying it was all true.
Yeah, we know it's haunted. Yeah. Give us the ghosts.
Nothing.
Yeah. I feel like that would be the only reason I would buy a house built in the 1800s is, for the ghosts.
Yes. That should be a selling point.
Somebody owns the Valiska House. I'm like, why would you ever do that? And somebody lives there. I'm like, why would you do this?
No. If I was silly enough to own it, I would not be living
there. No, absolutely not.
If you were in a legit haunted house, you're in there and whatever happens, the ghost speaks to you or you get whatever it is, wouldn't you just move? Like, wouldn't
I'd
you
be gone.
Immediately get out?
They never do. That's the one thing in horror movies that I can never get past. I can never suspend disbelief enough to think that these people aren't just moving out. As soon as somebody gets a scratch on their arm or the dog is found in the yard, I'm gone.
You're gone.
You know what I mean? I'm out. No.
I mean, it's a shame that you're going to be paying on this house for 30 years and you can't live there, but I'd be out.
Don't care.
Yeah. There you go. So I got us all way off track right at the beginning.
It's all right.
Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to talk with you. You are, and I love the new show, so we have to talk pivoting in a minute.
Thank you.
But let's go back to Bless This Mess because you're now the fourth cast member I've had from Bless This Mess on.
No way. Right? Who's you had?
Well, so the first one that I had was Jim O'Hare. So amazing. And that was a couple years ago. This was before Bless This Mess was even a show.
Yeah,
amazing.
He's amazing.
Don't tell him
I said that though.
No, I wouldn't do it. No, but he's such a terrific guy. And then we were lucky enough to get friendly with Belle.
No way.
Yeah. So and Belle is the best.
She is. She made that job so easy. She was so just effortlessly funny that it made my job like stupid easy. I would just show up. You know what I mean? Because she did all the heavy lifting. I'm like, you're so hilarious. I don't even have to be here.
Well, you two were our favorite parts of the show.
And
you know, I can't remember how I ended up getting matched up with Belle, but she was nice enough to come on the show and just
she's great.
Terrific. She said to tell you hello because she had nothing but good things to. What you just said about her, she said the exact same thing about you.
Aww.
He's like, he made it so easy to work with. He's so funny. He's like, I didn't have to do anything. I'm like, that's good chemistry.
Yeah, she is. She rocks. But who else? So you had.
So my third was Ed Begley.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm like at the bottom of this totem pole. With all the guests that you've had, I will pale in comparison. So I'm sorry in advance for that.
No, you're going to hold your own. I'm thrilled to death.
Ed is genuinely the nicest person I've ever met in my entire life.
That is,
and we had this running joke because I always like to get to set really early. You know, like I'm an hour early, and no matter what time I got there, Ed was always pulling in right before me. I could never beat him to work. He was so like punctual and aware of everybody's job on the set. He's like, I got to make everybody's job as easy as possible. So it would be, I'd have a 5 o'clock call time. I'd roll in at 4:30. He'd be there at 4:29. He just, no matter what time I tried to get there, he'd be there before me.
Belle had mentioned that what she liked about Ed was after a show had aired, he always made it a point to go around and tell everybody what a good job they did.
Yeah, we would often be shooting while the show was airing, and so we would have table reads and everything for the next episode. And at the beginning of every single table read, he would go around individually and tell everybody. He would quote a line to them, or he would tell them what he loved about the episode, and he was just so encouraging that way. Amazing. And I mean, for somebody as legendary as him, that's been at it for years, to be still that humble and kind and generous to his cast members, especially like me, like I'm a nobody, and he still made it a point to come and tell me how much he loved what I was doing, and that just meant the world to me.
Yeah, he's such an interesting guy. So when I interviewed him, everything in his house, he like makes his own energy. And stuff.
Yeah, his energy bill is like $1. I was lucky enough to be able to go to his birthday party, and it was at his house, and he was talking to me about how it's angled in this direction so that he gets minimal heat, so that he doesn't have to run the air conditioner as much. He's got a whole garden in his backyard and everything's solar. It's amazing.
It's crazy. Like before we got started, he was like, hold on, my signal's not very strong, and I don't know what he left. I don't know, turned a crank or something, came back. Perfect.
He does. I mean, he walks the walk and talks the talk. I mean, he's been doing it since the 70s, and he is stuck to his guns. When we would shoot on location, he would ride his bike in. He drove an electric car. He was doing what he was saying. You know what I mean?
I know. That's
like a lot of people are like, a lot of people are like, we gotta make this world better than we found it. And Ed's really doing it. And he's been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah, he's way ahead of the rest of us.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back. I jumped way ahead. Let's go back.
Okay.
When you got started, what made you want to become an actor? How did you go about getting into entertainment?
Well, it was more just kind of out of a sense of survival. I was always getting in trouble in school, and it was either like I had a teacher that told me to go audition for the play, for the school play or go to the principal's office again. And so my hands were tied. I couldn't do anything else. So I skipped football practice and I went and auditioned for the play, and which is kind of heresy in small town Texas.
Yep.
But I just was like, this just made sense to me. It was a comedic play and getting to make people laugh. And that was exactly what I was getting in trouble for. And now I was being asked to do it. So I just kind of fell into it. And it was one of those things that, like, in the moment, I was in 7th grade. I was just like, yeah, this is what I was supposed to do all along. And nothing changed. I went to an arts magnet high school. Yeah, it really is. I went to an arts magnet high school in Dallas, and they just kind of shaped me into who I am. And they taught you how to, direct and stage manage, and they taught you lighting design and costumes, and they make you be really well-rounded. And, a lot of people pretty much everybody comes in wanting to be an actor. And then you have 10% of the people that by the time we graduate are actors and are like, yeah, I want to stay on the acting track. They've all done other things, but I stayed through acting. And it was one of those things is like, I'm not qualified to do anything else. I don't have any other skills, I barely have this skill. So I got to milk it for all it's worth,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get that, but that is so rare, because especially that young, because usually you'll go through, 15 careers before you settle on one.
Yeah, no, and I knew, I felt it. It was the first time that I was like really happy. Yeah. I was always a very happy child, but where I grew up, football was king, and athletics were the thing that you did. And, I did all of that. I played sports, and I played football and baseball and ran track, and it just didn't light me up. And then when I started acting, it just was like, oh, there it is,
Yeah, football in Texas, kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I feel like Friday Night Lights was based on the town I grew up in.
Really? I believe it, because you could pick up almost any town in Texas, but
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that was the culture. And so it was odd to be an actor in that culture. But I couldn't do anything else. After I started, I was hooked. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your first paying gig?
It was a show called Lab Rats on, unless you're counting like commercials. I did a bunch of like industrial work in Dallas before I moved to Los Angeles. I did a bunch of Nerf commercials. So all of the like Super Soaker commercials and like Nerf footballs and stuff like that, they shot all of that in Dallas. And so I would get to skip school every now and then and just go and hang out in the middle of downtown Dallas and, shoot water guns all day. And that was like how I got started in it. That was like the first couple of jobs that I did. And then when I came to Los Angeles, I did a show called Lab Rats. I was fortunate enough to guest star on that. And that's got the ball rolling.
What were Lab Rats on? That sounds like Nickelodeon.
It was on Disney XD.
Okay, Disney XD. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I grew up watching Disney Channel. And so to be on like a Disney Channel set was kind of surreal.
You're a Disney kid now. That once you get that, you're in.
And I did it for a long time. I was very lucky that they just kept hiring me. Nickelodeon and Disney just kept hiring me for things. And that paved the way for the whole first, 3-4 years of my career. So I'm just like eternally grateful to Nickelodeon and Disney.
So now you're just waiting by the phone for, that Marvel or Star Wars call.
Yeah. I auditioned for Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I auditioned for it eons ago, and I didn't get very far. But I auditioned to be Peter Parker, which I think everybody did. I think every guy that was in my age.
Peter Parker, I can see that.
I don't know. Tom Holland is such a
he's amazing.
Spider-Man. Yeah. I just got to see the new Spider-Man, and I was just I was blown away. I was like, this guy is amazing. Yeah. I can't be mad because it wasn't. Sometimes you watch something and you're like, I could have done that better. My tape was this. But I watched Tom Holland and I'm like, this guy's it.
He does a good Peter Parker.
Great Peter Parker. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. Although it was awesome seeing all of them together. That was cool.
I know. Yeah. No spoilers though.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah.
It's been a little while though.
I know. I think the statute of limitations on it has passed. Yeah.
I mean, with the like it used to be, when I was growing up, no spoilers would be, I missed last night's episode.
Yeah.
But there was no way you're not going to catch up to it because, eventually you had tapes that you could tape the episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And
before
then
that,
came along.
You just had to wait for the summer reruns. You missed it. You got one shot.
Yeah. Right. You had to be sitting in front of the TV or you missed it.
But I do remember a lot of people saying, I haven't seen that movie yet. We're going this weekend. Don't tell me. Because there was no internet, so you didn't have that pressure.
Right.
But everybody, especially if you were a teenager, everybody was going to the same movies.
Oh yeah. At the same time.
Get a lot of that. Don't tell me.
Right. Yeah.
So you showed up. We're watching this new show Pivoting because the cast is amazing. It's loaded. It's got all these people that we love. So we're watching that, and there you are. And I was like, well, this show got even better.
I don't know about that. Yeah, you nailed it. The cast. I don't know how I've gotten so lucky to be just in two stacked casts. I've they're the only two shows I've ever been series regular on. And both casts are just, insurmountable. They're incredible.
They're crazy.
And Jennifer Goodwin and Maggie Q and Eliza and Tommy. I mean, it's just like, it's not fair. It's almost not fair, that like it's that strong. I just try to do my best to not, distract from them too much.
You've got a little bit of a scene stealer role. I mean, that character's funny.
Thank you.
There. I mean, he's torturing poor Jennifer, but other than that,
I know she's such a good sport too. They put her through the ringer in this season, and she just does it with such grace, and she's just hilarious.
Yeah, you've had some of this. I think the latest one we watched was the one where she thinks you're going on a picnic in the park.
Oh,
and you're just there to work out.
There to train. Yeah. I don't know how she could have misconstrued that. The fun season, and there's a lot of fun developments that happen throughout the season between the two of them. But yeah, she does such a great job of selling that excitement, and then just the letdown when she sees me just like, warming up. Oh man, it's like a masterclass on timing. She's phenomenal.
It's funny. Yeah, it's a funny scene. But was that role when you auditioned for it, or when you got the role, was it like a recurring role at that point, or was it one where they're like, we're going to have a guest star, and then it went so well they kept bringing you back?
Oh, I wish I could say that. No, he was written. He was always written as a series regular, and he was actually written to be more of like Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise, and that was the vibe of that. And so when I came in, I had so many just moments of self-doubt with my girlfriend and my acting teacher and everybody in my circle. I was just like, guys, who's Brad Pitt and Thelma and Louise? Who can do that? Nobody can do that. Brad Pitt is the only one, and so I was like, I gotta find what this guy's thing is so that it fits what I can bring, while still making him somebody that she could be really attracted to. Yeah. He's got to be attractive, but I can't play Brad Pitt, so it was a really interesting process to try to find what his thing was, and I think what we landed on was he was just really genuine and cared about everybody.
Well, that's the funniest part, is that it's not a put on. That's just him.
Yeah. And I think that's what, Liz and Tristram and the good folks at Fox thought too, in the end, was that, it's more fun to have him just kind of be really genuine and really care about Jodie's well-being, and care about the way that she's treated, as opposed to just being like this sexy trainer that, comes on to all the girls.
Right.
She is the girl. And I think that was what sealed the deal for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that he's so enthusiastic. He's just positive all the time.
Yeah, he's like a golden retriever.
Like, yeah, let's go.
There's not a lot going on in his head, but he's happy to be there.
So what you're saying is we can expect more hijinks as the season unfolds.
Yeah, a lot more hijinks. A lot of fun physical comedy. A lot of fun kind of like nail biter comedy.
Yeah, the uncomfortable kind.
Yep. It gets really fun, and I mean the girls' chemistry is incredible. Yeah. So I think it's got legs, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Well, part of the reason we wanted to watch it outside of the cast was it's getting harder to find good comedies, especially. You would think it would be easier because there's so much out there, but it's really hard to find the good, 30-minute sitcom type comedies. And this is one of them. It's funny. Yeah, it's so well written. The acting's terrific. Yeah, I'd love to see it go on.
Thank you. Yeah, that would be a dream come true to just do this show forever.
Did you have to train for this role?
Yeah, I was training a lot. I don't know that it shows on camera, but I was training a lot. And I was doing when we first started, started shooting the series, I was doing 2 a days. I would go and I would do a bunch of cardio in the morning, and then I'd go lift weights at night. And then I was trying to get in the best shape that I could. And nobody ever put that on me. Nobody ever called me and said, "Hey, JT, we're going to need you to be this." And I don't know that I could attain it anyway.
But you're playing a trainer, so I could get that. I would put stress on myself.
Yeah, it was always a goal that I put on myself to be in really good shape, and I would have liked to have been in better shape than I was, but I did the best that I could, and nobody ever, like I said, nobody ever made me think, "Oh, we'd like you to be a little bit more shredded. We'd like you to have bigger arms." I've had roles before where it's like, "Hey, could he gain 15 pounds of muscle by next month?" And nobody ever did that to me on this. It was something that I put onto myself to say, this is what I think the character should be. And when we took a hiatus, I took Christmas off, I took the break off, and then I'm back in the gym now and just preparing for
season 2.
For season 2, for hopefully getting picked up for season 2.
Well, see, now we're ready for the spinoff.
Yeah, that would be fun, right?
The whole episode takes place in your gym.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah,
just throwing it out there.
from your mouth to Fox's ears.
That's right. Yeah. Stay by the phone. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right. I got it right here. I'm waiting.
I had forgotten that you had a role in Shameless, and then when I was prepping for the show, I was like, "Oh, I've seen that." Yeah, that was really good too.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a crazy thing, because I had just shot the pilot for Pivoting, and back to back, I did 3 things. I did Shameless, and then I did an episode on the upcoming season of Animal Kingdom, and then I did the episode of iCarly, and all of them were huge pivotal roles for the series. I was in the season finale of Shameless, and it was one of the highest rated season finales of all time.
There was. And
to have been a part of that, I knew that it was a big deal at the time, but then just being on the set and feeling the energy of it was like, man, there is something happening here. So, and I was on the second to last day, so that it was just really palpable. You could feel the buzz of, these kids have been doing it for years.
Right.
And so it was a huge honor to be on that. And then for Animal Kingdom, I think it's their last season too. And then iCarly is the first season of their revival.
I know my son is so excited about that. He said, make sure you bring up Dad that he was on. I was like,
yeah,
all right.
it was a show that I watched, when I was growing up. And so to walk onto that set, like to walk onto the iCarly set was just like, this is not real. I couldn't imagine it. Like if you told 12-year-old JT, like, hey, you're going to be on iCarly, 15 years, I'd be like, you're lying. Right. You're ridiculous. Yeah.
What do you think about all the revivals with the different shows?
Some of them I'm like, yeah, I need this. I want to see where these people are now. And then some of them I'm like, don't need it. Yeah. I don't need it. And it's less with TV and more with remakes of films that I loved.
That's hard. That's hard because you're kind of excited about because you loved it, but then the chances of it living up to it, it's probably not.
I think with TV it's different because there's so many more possibilities. Whereas like with a film, they all exist in that moment in time. They exist in that hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is, and then that's the world. But with TV, it's like, oh, there was 6 seasons of this show, and now it's 20 years later. Let's see where they're at. So I feel like there's a lot that can be done with television, but with all these film remakes, I'm like, don't need it.
Man, don't you think that they should remake movies that should have been good, but for whatever reason didn't work out?
Yes. Yeah.
That's the ones I want to see.
Underrated movies.
Movies.
Yeah, movies that could have been something incredible. Or film series that could have been incredible. But like a while back, I know that the idea was floating around of them remaking The Princess Bride. And I was like, this feels blasphemous to me. That's my favorite film of all time.
Oh, it's the best.
And the idea of putting anybody else in those roles is just like, this is not, this feels,
I don't even know how that would work. There's no way it's going to be nearly as impactful or as funny. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, because you can't improve on it. It's a perfect movie.
No.
And everybody wants to remake, Back to the Future, and because these were big hit movies. And I'm like, guys, you got to leave what is perfect alone.
Well, it's a lot of those movies, especially back then, I mean, they were perfect for that moment in time. But and they're still great to watch, because it's nostalgic. But you can't bring those forward. I mean, some things you could remake, it's fine.
Yeah.
Some things you got to leave. Princess Bride is probably at the top of the list. You cannot make that movie.
Yeah, you got to leave it alone. Yeah. I like continuations of things as long as it's done in the heart of the originals. Like the new Ghostbusters movie, I loved Ghostbusters Afterlife because I was like, it felt like a love letter to the original movies, and those movies were so impactful on me when I watched them as a kid. And I watched them years after they came out, but they still were very important movies to me. And so I was like, if you're going to continue onto the series, you got to do it in the heart of the original. And I think that that's what that movie did really well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was really good. It was really good. It had some good callbacks. Yeah. You love the characters, so you got to see some of them again. Really
having the originals all together with the proton accelerators, I was like, I started crying.
Yeah, I know.
So good.
I gave up a long time ago trying not to cry. Everything makes me cry.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I was like, I got to be tough. And now I'm like, you know what? I want to be moved. I want to be moved to tears.
That's what you want.
Yeah. That's why they did that.
I sleep better after.
Exactly. Just let it all out. It's cathartic, right?
So tell me, what is Malibu Rescue?
Malibu Rescue is, it's Malibu Rescue. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like Teen Baywatch.
That's what I was saying. To me, that's it. Just reading, I haven't seen it, but reading the description, I was like, that sounds like Teen Baywatch to me.
Yeah, and it is. I play a lifeguard in Malibu who has to train all of these lifeguard prospects from the valley which is just disgusting to me. It's hilarious. I had such a good time shooting that.
That's funny.
Because not only were the scripts really good, because we did 2 movies and a series, and but it was more that I got to work with Jed Elenoff and Scott Thomas again, and I had worked with them on a show called Best Friends Whenever, a million years ago, and when they called me back in to work on this, I was just thrilled, because it's like going to work with your best friends. We would just sit around and shoot the breeze and rag on each other and make jokes at each other's expense, and that's my love language. And I would sit in the in the producer's tent and just like just chill, because that was the vibe. They wanted you to have fun, and we did. And
did you have to run in slow motion?
I didn't, but a couple of the other kids did. That was another one that I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to be in really good shape for this. And when we got there, they were like, we're not gonna make you take your shirt off ever. And I was like,
thank you.
Yeah. But it's hilarious. And my character was so crazy ridiculous and just over the top that nothing was off limits. I could do and say whatever. And if it was too big, Jed and Scott would be like, hey, let's try this instead. But they really just kind of let me have free reign with the guy. And that's my favorite thing to do, is just to kind of go in and be like, hey, let me just do a couple of takes, just figuring this out. And let me try this bit. I don't know if it's going to work. I might just fall on my face. And if I do, I'll go back to the thing. And they're always game for it. They're like, yep, let's do it.
So why wouldn't you be? I mean, because really the only thing you're wasting is time. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But you may end up with something even better.
Yeah. And some people are very adamant about the rhythm that they want and the joke that they want. And they're very like, no. I have the music in my head and I need to hear it. And Jed and Scott they were so generous with what I wanted to do. They were like, yeah, try whatever you want. Let's just, because I think they trusted me to come up with something that would be funny. It didn't always work for the show, and when it didn't, they just fell back on the takes that did. But they had those in the can, and I'm just like, I'm so thankful that they let me play, because that's why I started acting, was to play.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. Is there a role or a genre that you haven't done that you would like to do? I guess. Yeah, right. I haven't. I've been really lucky. I've been able to do drama, and I've been able to do horror and comedy. I think the thing that I haven't gotten to do is like, I haven't gotten to do a lot of like rom-coms, which I think would be so much fun. They're light, and they're, I was so excited when I got pivoting, because Jennifer Goodwin is in like 9 out of 10 of my favorite rom-coms. And so I was like, I want to do something like that. I want to do like a Crazy Stupid Love, or, He's Just Not That Into You. Those movies are so much fun. And I haven't done that yet, but hopefully soon. Hopefully this show. It's going to be the driver. It's going to be, I mean, you're going to fit it in, because I'm sure Star Wars, Marvel, we got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm sure there's I just need to put some thought into it. There's probably a rom-com Marvel character that you could combine the two.
Right. That would be cool.
I gotta think it through.
Yeah, it would be cool to be a superhero. It would be really cool to be a superhero. Yeah. I wouldn't even know what that would be like. It'd
be awesome.
It would be awesome. But I feel like there's also so much pressure, because comic books have such a dedicated fandom that if you don't do it justice, like, you are going to be raked across the coals.
Oh yeah.
So I mean,
Ryan Reynolds, he kind of fell flat the first couple of tries, but he eventually found Deadpool.
Yeah. Again. Yeah. But he was also like, no, I know what this guy needs to be. Yeah. Let me do it, and let me do it right. We're going to make him rated R. We're going to do it right. we're not going to sew my mouth shut. And
I don't know what they're thinking on that first one.
Yeah, no, but he nailed it. Yeah.
If you get the chance to play a superhero, will you ever take the costume off? Like, I would be going to the supermarket in costume. I'd be wearing that thing everywhere.
No, I'd be like Tobey Maguire. I'd be wearing it under my shirt.
Just in case.
Yeah. Like, I have friends that are on like superhero shows, and they'll post pictures, or they'll show us like, hey, look, here's my suit, and I'm like, that's so freaking cool. Hey, I got a wardrobe fitting for my superhero suit. What? That's wild.
Let me run this idea past you, because this is my idea for getting in to show business without having to act. So my idea is, right, you've got an agent, you got a publicist, manager, whatever, and they do all this great stuff, but you don't have anybody to negotiate for you for the silly stuff. So I will go in and make sure you get, like, to keep the costume.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, because right now I'm just stealing things.
Yeah. You don't have to do that anymore. That would be my job. I'll come in there and be like, well, he'll do it, but he's going to need 3 costumes to take with him.
Man, I needed you when we were doing Bless This Mess, because I wanted to keep my severed thumb so bad.
Yes, you should be able to keep that.
I was like, it's my thumb. What are you going to do with it? It's sitting on somebody's desk over at ABC right now, I'm sure.
You'll probably see it in something someday.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it was like...
We need a severed thumb.
It's like the guy's head in Jaws. It ended up in some show or something like 30 years later, right?
Yeah.
Forget, it was like in a jar somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's
Spielberg
exactly what's going to happen.
Spielberg's like, that's my head.
We have to figure out how the compensation would work. I'm telling you, I think I could instantly make an impact.
You know what? You're hired.
I'm ready.
You're hired. And first order of business is getting my thumb back from ABC.
Oh yeah. That's top of the list. We got to get
this bad boy.
I thought right before we came on camera, I was lucky enough to interview John Wesley Shipp, who, he's the old Flash.
Right.
He's a Jay Garrick Flash. Yeah. And that's why I told him, I was like, I'm going to get you that helmet.
Yeah. We're gonna make it happen for you.
So now I got it. Flash's helmet, JT's thumb. Got it.
Love that.
But I know we got to wrap up, but so disappointed that Bless This Mess didn't get another season.
I appreciate that. It was a hard pill to swallow at the time. But it paved the way for some really wonderful things now. And
pivoting looks terrific. I'm definitely not unhappy that came about.
Good. Yeah. It was a great time. And, I stay in contact with my old castmates to this day. And awesome. I think that it's just a testament to how special that show was. So it's going to live fondly in my heart for the rest of my life. But I'm excited to see where the future goes, and to see, what pivoting's going to do. Cause I think pivoting's got the potential to really go.
So there's been several comedies that have come out in the last few weeks. So far, that's our favorite. So you're leading the pack. Don't mess it up. Right at the top.
Look, I can almost guarantee you that I will.
No. It's been great. And there's actually been a few that have come out that are pretty good. So it's got some competition. Definitely our favorite though.
Thank you.
Hands down. We were watching. We were watching that first episode when you popped in, and it immediately I stopped it. And I told my wife, I was like, we have got to get him on the show. I was like, I bet Belle could help.
Yeah. Look, I'm really glad that you did. This is a blast. And it's always kind of hard for me to talk about myself, but because I don't know, I feel weird promoting myself or what I'm doing, but
it's unusual, in entertainment.
Yeah, I'm a very private guy in my regular
Yeah.
life, and I try to stay really low key. I sit at home and I watch movies and I knit, and and then that's my
Very
life. And so
nice.
it's fun to be able to share this in a way that doesn't feel gross. That where I get to effusively brag on the show and less about
Yeah.
myself necessarily, but yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Can you get like, will we get to see your character at his home life? Maybe he could be knitting.
That would be amazing, because you know what? Jennifer knits too. So if there's like a dream sequence that they're like married in 40 years or something, and they're just sitting there knitting and they're just both
Awesome.
old people, come on, that'd be amazing.
What do you knit? What's your go-to thing that you knit?
Everything. I did like 15 hats for Christmas for my family.
Nice.
I just finished this big shawl. I'm working on another shawl over here, and I did some cowls, like little kind of
very nice
hoop scarf things. I did a Goonies one, and I did a Princess Bride one. Yeah, I just kind of.
That's pretty awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. My mom's she's a crocheter. She crochets.
I haven't started crocheting yet.
Well, it's similar. It's similar.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just one day I was like, I think I want to learn to knit, and I texted Nancy Linehan, who played Deb, the mail lady on Bless This Mess.
Yep.
And I said, because she's been knitting for years, and I was like, can you teach me to knit? She said nothing would make me happier. So yeah, I started knitting, and it's just been, this is like,
yeah, let's see some of it.
It's like sitting over here. I'm like working on
hey, that's impressive.
There's a shawl.
Yeah, that's nice.
There's like some fun stuff I'm working on, but yeah, I just like to learn, and I like to do stuff with my hands, and it gives me something to do while I'm just watching TV. So yeah.
Isn't that funny? It's hard sometimes just to watch TV, but you don't want to just be on your phone, because then you miss everything. Yeah,
you don't pay attention. This I can do it, and I can watch, and it's how I unwind at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's really nice. Really nice. Yeah. Well, JT, thank you so much. This has been so much
fun. Yeah, it's
been
a blast. I appreciate it. Yeah,
you have to come back. We got to talk season 2 at some point.
Yes, absolutely. I'll be here.
So before you go, a couple things. Anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Like I said, I got there's an episode of the new season of Animal Kingdom that I'm in.
That's exciting.
I don't exactly know what day it's going to air, but that'll be coming up soon. I think they're about to come back, and then we have a lot more pivoting, a lot more.
Yeah, it's just getting started.
Yeah, a lot more fun to unpack with that show. So
yeah. What day time does pivoting come out?
We're on Thursdays after Call Me Kat, which is 9:30, 8:30 Central.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not a terrible lead in either.
No, great lead in. And this next week, one of my Bless This Mess family is going to be on Call Me Kat. Rose Abdu. Yeah, Rose Abdu.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm excited to watch that, and then right into pivoting.
Yeah, that's terrific. Yeah. Last thing before you go, where can we find you on social media?
I'm only on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at JT Neal on Instagram, and then JT_Neal_IV on Twitter, because I'm the fourth. I'm so terrible with social media. I'm like, wait, what's my handle again?
Yeah. If you put your name in, though, it comes up.
It'll come up. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes up. You got it. Are you verified? Does it have the check?
It has the blue check. If it doesn't have the blue check, it's not me.
That's right. That's how you know you made it. Once you start getting imitators.
Well, I have no imitators yet that I know of. So
yeah, me neither.
I'm just going to keep plugging away.
Don't think they're coming either.
Yeah, I don't think so for me either. Who would want to imitate me?
I don't know. I could see it. I would have a hard time not messing with them.
Yeah. If anybody does see an imitator, please mess with them.
Yeah, that's right. Mess with them. Okay, JT, hold on one second. All right, so that was the terrific JT Neal. Love him as an actor. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't seen Pivoting, definitely check that out. What a staff, or what a cast. I'm sure the staff is great too, but what a cast. JT is so funny on there. So do yourself a favor, check out Pivoting. You can also still find, I believe, Bless This Mess on Hulu, and it's definitely worth your time. A couple seasons, him and Belle Adams play a couple on there. Hilarious stuff. Really good. And another great cast. So definitely check that out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. I think we're up to now 335 maybe episodes. If you haven't done so yet, we could use the help with our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. If you could like and subscribe, we would really appreciate that. We're trying to grow those numbers. You can find all of those episodes, and we've got, just like JT, we've got some great interviews on there. So you can check out the audio and the video versions of them on our website, meistercon.com. If we're doing anything in studio, if we're going on location, if we're covering conventions, all that will be on the website, meistercon.com. So definitely check that out. And there's a great geeky blog from Brett that's funny. It's well written. You'll love it. So check that out, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Bye, everybody.